People often come up to me and say, Mark, I want to be a speaker. So what's your advice to me to be like you and become a public speaker? And it always is interesting to me because I never took speaking training and I never actually had desire to be a speaker. So when I see someone who's really not achieved very much, and again, I'm not trying to hurt someone's feelings, but a lot of people ask me this, really haven't achieved much. They just have seen a great public speaker, so now they're inspired and they want to be a speaker. So let me be blunt with you. Why should someone listen to you? See, years ago, I didn't set out to be a speaker. I set out to become successful. And I went to seminar after seminar after seminar, and I learned the information. I applied the information. I got more information. I came to more seminars. I applied it. More seminars. I applied it. And over a long period of time, I got really good at what I was doing. And then I went through ups and downs in my careers, and I learned things that only experience can train you, and in the meantime, can teach you, In the meantime, I kept going to seminars, and then I started doing trainings, not because I want to be a speaker, but because I had an organization, and they needed to get the information, and it was a really efficient way to get them the information, and I did lots and lots and lots of trainings. I did trainings for 20, 30 people, hundreds of times, probably thousands of times. I did trainings for 4 or 5 people. See, I think a lot of people, again, their ego is out of whack, and they want to go from not being a speaker to talking to thousands of people. They want to be, instead of being in a band, instead of playing in their local pub for 40 people and honing their skills, they want to go right to Madison Square Garden or the O2 Arena in London. It doesn't work that way. So what happened with me was every time I had a chance to do a presentation or a training for my business, I just did it the very best I could, and I focused, and I paid attention, and I asked for feedback. And see, a lot of times I'll listen to someone who's a stand-up comedian. I love those kinds of guys. And they'll go on someone like Howard Stern, and he'll interview them, and someone like Jerry Seinfeld or Larry David or Chris Rock, some of the greatest comedians of our time will say, yeah, you know what? I went out and tried the material. This worked. This didn't. So I got rid of this. Or I tried the same joke, but I changed it a little bit. You got to pay attention to what you're doing. You got to see how the audience responds to what you're doing. It's not what you say, it's what they hear. And here's the other thing. If you want to be a great speaker, people have to get results from what you teach them. It's not about you being glorified on stage. It's not about being the man. It's not about being a guru. It's about being a servant leader, knowing that you have learned some information that other people have not gotten, and you want to come there and give it to them in a way that they not only understand it, but they can implement it. So again, let's go back to square one. What are you great at? Why should people pay to come and see you? So what I tell people is like, why don't you put the speaking thing on hold, and why don't you become great at something? Why don't you do what Malcolm Gladwell says, become an outlier, become statistically better than everybody else? I don't care what it is. Maybe it's you becoming a great business person, a great salesperson, a great network marketer, maybe a great musician, maybe a great video blogger. I don't know. There's a great video game player, a great chef. Look at the internet, guys. There's people who are experts at virtually everything. You're in the golden age of being a speaker, but just because you have a YouTube channel or just because you're doing some posts on Facebook or on Instagram, that doesn't make you an expert. You got to be able to know what you're talking about. The good thing is anyone can be a speaker in this day and world. The bad news is there's a lot of competition because anyone can be a speaker. So go do something to separate yourself from everybody else. Go become incredibly, incredibly good at something. Get the information. Know what you're talking about. Acquire the experience that comes with the ups and downs so that anybody who comes to you, and whatever that field might be, you are there for them. In my field, it happens to be network marketing. I've had clients that I coach who are in many other fields, athletes, attorneys, all kinds of different people I've coached and helped. But the truth is, my bottom line, where I really know what I know, is in the network marketing field. So when you become that knowledgeable in your field, then you go on stage, and I got news for you. People would rather hear someone who's not a great speaker, not a great orator, but someone who knows what they're talking about. That person's going to be much more popular than someone who's an incredible speaker with very little to say. The bottom line is, they say it all the time in this industry, content is king. You got to know what you're talking about. Now, in an ideal world, if you want to be one of the best of the best of the best, you have great content, great knowledge, you're exceptional at what it is you're trying to teach, and you're an exceptional speaker. My belief is, if you want to be like that, then go out and become an expert in what you're doing first, and then along the way, just give talk after talk after talk. Doesn't matter how many people are in the audience. Doesn't matter how much money you're getting paid. Get in front of as many live audiences as you can. Try out your material. See what works. See what doesn't work. Keep refining things. Learn to just be genuine. Again, you want some real information about speaking? Be genuine. Tell stories. Facts tell. Story sell. Use analogies of what's happened to you in your business. Let people, again, it's not what you're saying, it's what they're hearing. So you've got to be able to not just give them basic information, raw information. You have to be able to give a story and analogy to support it so it makes sense to them. Because if it doesn't make sense, if they didn't understand the very specific thing you're talking about, then how in the world can they implement it? And ultimately, the greatest trainers in the world have the most people behind them having the most success. One of the things I'm really proud of is, yeah, it's nice to have people say, oh, that was a great talk. Wow, that was inspiring. You fired me up. But when all is said and done, it's the people with the results that are the most important thing to me. So I'm very blessed. I've had so many great students be willing to come over and over and over again. Now, one of the things I love the most is teaching and training people how to be great speakers and trainers themselves. But again, guys, almost everyone I work with to make them a better speaker is already exceptional at doing what they do. So go become exceptional at something. Do some speeches as you go along, and someday maybe you'll have both, the expert status and you'll be a great speaker. But don't just focus on speaking. There's got to be a reason for people to come and hear your amazing speech. So get to the excellence in your field first, and then we'll see what happens. That's the information I give people. I thought I'd share it with you today.